Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 107 of Total Retail Talks. In today's episode, Total Retail's editor-in-chief Melissa Campanelli sits down with Rachel Jarrett, president of Zola, a bridal registry company. Listen in as they discuss Zola's unique perspective on e-commerce and its brand strategy. And now, on to the show.
So for those of you who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about Zola and the business model?
Yeah, so it's exciting to see that there are people here who have heard of Zola. How many were Zola brides or Zola grooms?
Wow,
just a few.
that's
Okay,
exciting.
great. Well, Zola is the fastest growing wedding registry in the US right now. And what our whole concept is we are using technology to reimagine and reinvent wedding planning and wedding registry for the 2 million couples that get married each year.
Wow.
It's a really big
That's a big market.
business. We started out just in registry, but recently expanded into a whole suite of wedding planning tools. So our mission is to help you from the day you get engaged until a few months after your married life. And in terms of my role with the company, I joined about a year and a half ago. I was brought in to help professionalize the company. We have an amazing CEO and exec team with a lot of rich experience in e-commerce. And it was really, really exciting to be able to join that team and also bring my expertise around finance and operations and sort of process and structure to this really visionary team. So as you said, Melissa, I run about half the company, which is all the non-sexy stuff. So Shan, our CEO, gets to do marketing and product, tech, PR. She's the face of the company. She's always looking gorgeous in every magazine. But I do the non-sexy stuff, which is finance, operations, merchandising, strategy, growth, planning, legal, and HR.
Important
In
stuff.
case I need anything else to add to my list.
So let's just talk about the fact that Zola is a new player in a pretty old retail industry. I mean, the wedding gift industry. So, and it's become the fastest growing site. So what do you think it is about Zola? Why did people come to Zola? What was wrong with the old way of doing things? I mean, what was the thoughts there?
So Zola was founded about 3 years ago when Shan, our CEO, was invited to 10 weddings in 1 year.
Oh my
so
God.
She was in her probably early 30s and in 1 year had to attend 10 weddings. And during that time of having to buy wedding gifts off the registry for her friends, she found that this was the worst e-commerce experience she ever had. And Shan is a visionary and a product person. And so this really upset her. What she realized was that registry has been around for almost 100 years, and it hasn't changed at all, whereas all the couples are changing. So the millennial couple, for example, is spending about 50% of the millennial couples will check their smartphones 50 times a day and spend more than 3 hours a day on one of their devices. And yet the traditional retailers were expecting them to go into a store and to go around and scan with an old lady and pick things for their registry. And that is not what today's couple wants to do.
Right.
So Shan set about to fix all of these problems, and she really tapped into what those couples want. In addition, there were a lot of pain points along the way. For example, when you got married, you would come home and your gifts would just appear on your doorstep out of nowhere, right? Everyone remember that? You would come home, maybe you were on your honeymoon and you didn't know where you're going to put your gifts. Well, one of our features is that we allow you to choose when you ship your gifts. So we will hold your gifts for you and then ship them to you when you're ready to receive them. We also have features like group gifting and all of that. And that has
a great
yeah,
idea.
so you can register for a larger item and set it up as multiple group gifts. All of this has contributed to an amazingly passionate customer base. You're one of them, thank you. And they are our greatest advocates. And what is so great about our business is that it's inherently viral. So when you get married, you invite 150 of your closest friends to your wedding. And that is how they learn about Zola.
That's great, yeah. I was going to ask a little bit about marketing, but that's really, it's word of mouth is what it is. So let's talk a little bit about how you, ultimately how you make money. So, how do you work with vendors? How do you, do vendors pay you, or what's the
That's a great question.
business strategy?
I think there's a lot of confusion around this when it comes to Zola. We actually are a retailer. So we work off retail wholesale margins just like the rest of you do. And we were able to take those margins just like anybody else would. But what is different about our business is that we don't own inventory. The majority, vast majority of our vendors drop ship for us. So we are incredibly capital efficient, and that is a key part of our philosophy.
That's great. So when you say that you are a retailer, so in other words, you can buy stuff on your site, a consumer can buy something on your site and it would ship from you to them? Is that what you mean?
No, yes, in the fact that they could buy something on our site, but it won't ship from us. It will ship directly from the vendor to them.
Okay.
But we have direct relationships with over 500 brands. So we have relationships with Cuisinart, KitchenAid, Le Creuset, Analon, et cetera.
I see. So before you worked at Zola, you worked for several more traditional retailers like Barnes & Noble, like we talked about. What did you learn from traditional retail that you brought to Zola, to your role?
Great. Well, I see that Fred has been following me around my career, clearly, just trying to go in my shoes wherever I went. But yes, I started out at Toys R Us, and I went on to Barnes & Noble eventually, and Gilt. And I can honestly say that growing up in traditional retail buying is the absolute best education that you can get. I would say it was more valuable than my MBA. And I always tell young people when they ask me career advice, if they're looking for something to do to get a training ground, I always say start with retail buying, because you learn how to manage a business, negotiate margins, come up with a strategy on sort of a micro level, and you can apply that on a macro level. So I draw on all those skills from merchandising today. I think in terms of the business, I watched all of these retailers make so many big mistakes, and that was a very painful process, and I lived through many of those mistakes. And we are determined at Zola not to make those same mistakes. So that's one of the reasons why we don't own inventory, because we've seen markdown risk and capital risk from inventory. We also, similar to your business, we have a return rate that is less than 5%, because returns are the silent killer of retail. I mean, you see companies with return rates 20, 30, 40, even 50%, and all of that is a margin killer. So we have really worked hard to make a business model that avoids all of those traps. What's also great about our business is it's very predictable. So people set up a wedding registry on average 7 months before they get married.
Oh, wow.
And so we have a clear line of sight 7 to 12 months into what our revenue is going to be. So when we went out to raise our Series C round of financing, we were able to show that we came within 3% of all of the metrics we had shown 18 months earlier in the Series B.
Wow.
So that's a great strength for us.
One thing that we didn't mention here, but I talked to Emily about, when you came on, you increased the number of SKUs or merchandise pretty substantially. So can you talk a little bit about that? Why was that important to the growth of the company, and why did you do that?
Well, I think Fred hit on something that's really, really true, which is something I believe as well, that you should never make decisions for the customer. You should let them choose what they want and let them choose it themselves. And so when I came to Zola at the time, we only had 5,000 products on the site, and we were trying to compete with the department stores. We now have 50,000 items on the site. So in under 2 years, we've added 50,000 items and tripled the number of brands we work with. And it is our goal to have anything that the couple could want to register for. Plus, we know that the millennial couple doesn't necessarily only want products like fine china. They also want experiences. They want cash funds. So we offer everything from a wine club membership to Soul Cycle classes to Airbnb gift cards.
Wow.
And honeymoon funds. So it's really everything you could ever want for your starting your newlywed life together, all in one place.
So lastly, I know that you mentioned your Series C round that you just finalized in December. I have 2 questions around that. Can you talk a little bit about what you're going to invest in, and then also I don't know if anyone here is in the market to work with investors, but sort of what do you think the investors were attracted to about your model?
Let me answer the second part first, which is that I think most traditional VCs are scared of e-commerce. And the reason they're scared of it is because it's very capital intensive, and people burn through a lot of cash when they're trying to get e-commerce companies off the ground because they have to buy inventory and they have to have large merchandising teams. We have basically eliminated that risk, and so I think that made us very, very appealing to the Series C investors. What was so great is that we didn't need the money, and of course, when you don't need money, people want to give it to you. So we're finding that we have a lot of money in the bank, we have a lot of cash in the bank, and people are knocking down our door trying to give us funding, which is obviously a great problem to have. The other thing that they look for is a large TAM, or total addressable market, and this is very important to VCs, and we are playing in a $90 billion space.
Wow.
So registry alone is about $20 billion, with another $70 billion of wedding gifts, spending.
Wow.
So that was really, really helpful. And of course, they want to see a solid business model and a great team, so that helps. In terms of the funding and where we're going to invest it, we are going to continue to go after all of these wedding tools that are going to improve the couple's lives and make their lives easier. And we're not sure exactly what tool will be next, but the couples are begging us for more and more to help them, and I think that's where we'll be putting the money.
Great.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this episode, be sure to visit our podcast channel page at www.mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, but please remember to subscribe to our podcast channel page as well. Lastly, don't forget to connect with us on social on Twitter at MyTotalRetail and on Facebook at facebook.com/MyTotalRetail. Until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.